I think he was trying to convey how many different experiences there are to be had in one city, because when you read it, like, I don't know whether that was just the fantasy part of the work, but it just seemed like a lot of what was written really didn't relate from one person to the other. It might have been to do with the class divide that was going on in the city, or just a difference in living standards, but I think there was really a plethora of different things going on. And art-wise, it reminded me of Cubism, because I wasn't sure which bit I was supposed to be looking at, and it was very fragmented, basically. It made me feel like I was really probably needed to be walking in a certain direction, so I didn't know if they were supposed to be read in a certain order or not, so it made me feel a bit confused, but I just took it that they were fragments of a larger piece. I'll just keep going back to that word fragmented when it comes to the work, I think.
The split thing was quite an obvious thing, I suppose, but yeah, probably that. Something to do with feminism and cinema. I don't particularly know much about feminist theory, so I was slightly confused, but aesthetically I found it very pleasing. The thing it reminded me of most is, do you remember when Sliding Doors, the film, was out, and you could walk past the, they had like an advert which was square, it was like rectangles like that, so from one side it like one picture, from the other it looked like another, and it changed when you walked around it. It reminded me of that most.
It made me feel like I was being pushed into kind of sexual politics, you know, the role of what women are. It was quite isolating, so I wanted to tell your opinion of what you think women's role in comedy is, but by being isolated, it's kind of, but we don't want anybody else to hear about it, you know? It's almost kind of post-modern or modern way of looking at things, or post-postmodern, whatever that was, where it's almost thought-provoking, but then it's not. But the point is that it's not meant to be thought-provoking, but it actually is at the same time.
I like independent businesses now. I've never really liked Starbucks, etc. And I think the fact that it was in a nice little local independent place was, you know, it touched me, and I feel sorry for the businesses in a way, because they've been overridden. It's the whole butchers. I like the idea it was handmade, rather than it being, oh, we'll print off 1,000 of these and stick them up places. But I suppose it's making a community, a little community of these independent businesses in a way, that so they're supporting each other against this big giant in a way that is horrible, supermarkets, etc.
I was confused. I was confused because I'd never been here. Well, I'd been once a long time ago, and I knew it had a particular resonance throughout the city, but I had never really particularly experienced that. So learning all this other stuff about that experience was quite interesting. And again, through sound, yeah, it was an interesting experience. You get a lot of sound and reminiscence kind of projects that are to do with memory and remembering things, but it varies all over the place what they actually deal with. So I don't know whether it particularly reminded me of any other artwork because of its very specific nature. You can't always measure society in terms of figures and quantifiable figures. There is this other element to do with society that is to do with personal experience and being part of a club, an alternative network that operates outside of everything else that can be measured. And you can't measure these things. These things are people's experiences, and they cannot be quantified and labelled. So I think what the artist was trying to do was just to bring some kind of I don't know, bring to life something that is often overlooked, forgotten, which is the individual's experience of their life, rather than being a conglomerate of like averages. No, this is about the individual and what they experienced.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting. You had to find the artwork first. An incomplete book or something I'm going to complete in a funny way, dot to dot. Reading a story. I think that they've read the brief and they've just gone, right, okay, this will get me into Situation Leeds, I'm going to do this, and this. To be honest, it's not an original idea. I might have enjoyed it, might be really nice, but I'm going to do it.
You know, there's some artwork that goes to you, and it's like a kind of courier service. And this kind of art been really static, and people just travelling to visit something and stand in front of it, and that kind of just perhaps mocking it. Quite exciting, quite kind of. I feel quite privileged to, because it's quite spontaneous. So you know, they've showed me this, and they've parked the van there, and maybe they're doing it for me, and you know. But that's my ego. But also, yeah, it's kind of a bit of a chance, kind of fate meeting of this artwork and me as well.
It's a bit Carl Andre and the kind of close to the ground, like sculptural aspect, kind of clearing a space within the room, you know, which, you know, it's amazing for that, I suppose. Yeah, it was really cool, you know? It's like, all I'm thinking right now is these little crazy nodules going between these things. I'm thinking twiglets right now. I'm thinking like some kind of weird series of twiglets, which you can't really not be amazed at, because I like twiglets. Look, I have absolutely no idea what the artist is trying to convey. Isn't that the point of contemporary art? That nobody has a fucking clue what's going on. Twiglets, yeah.
I was interested in the project before I went to the archive because I'd come across a couple of the bookmarks just during the festival, and they'd interested me. Obviously, you know, you're on the lookout for these type of projects when it's going on. So, as a result of that, when I investigated it more and discovered this archive existed, I was quite interested to find out more about that. Well, obviously, there's lots of different artists involved in it that have all made these bookmarks. So I guess, you know, he's trying to get people involved in, you know, doing different projects in a different way than maybe they'd work normally. You know, getting a piece of their drawing or their print, however you want to present your artwork, in circulation in something that's, you know, a small, tangible little bookmark. More of a contemporary sort of projects. People doing things that are, you know, left behind for other people to find. Those sort of projects, things like that.